Hey guys, my name is Evan and welcome to a rainy day out here at Country View Acres. So I know a lot of you guys are wishing you had rain, and we are lucky that we are getting some rain this summer. But today we're going to be working here in the pole barn, and we've got a little shop project that I've actually had sitting around since last year. So today we're going to be building a solar fence charger, and like most of the things I build, this is probably going to be a little bit overbuilt. But I want a permanent fence charger out in our pasture. We do have a solar one that's like portable, and we're using that on electric netting for our turkeys and chickens. But I want a permanent one for the pasture fence, and that's what we're building today. So I've got an old fence charger here, and that's what we're going to use today. The only problem I've had with this is an AC-DC model, and the AC adapter kept on going bad. It was like one of those little wall transformers you plug into the wall. But this thing works fine on DC, no problem. So we're going to hook this to a deep cycle battery and a solar panel. So I ended up buying a solar panel kit off of Amazon. It came with the solar panel, and it also came with this little charge controller here. And this is actually waterproof. It's got the little automotive connectors here on the end, and it's basically plug and play. So the solar panel to the battery to the charger should be fairly simple. The hard thing is going to be to get it mounted in the field. So I ended up buying a galvanized fence post, basically for chain link fence, and we're going to go try to drive this in the ground. Hopefully the rain's going to help that out, make the ground a little softer. We're going to mount this into the ground, try to put the solar panel at the top, and then try to mount the battery near the bottom off the ground. I'm hoping that I can mount everything to this post, and that's going to be the trick, is we got to make the brackets for everything. And then I also have a galvanized ground rod here that we're going to drive into the ground to ground this, help ground the system. So I want to make this as simple as possible. So I just bought some aluminum flat stock, 1 inch wide. This is only a 1/16 inch thick. This is super easy to work with. You could probably actually hand bend this if you wanted to, or just bend it over a table. But we're going to bend this. We're going to make brackets out of it to hold the solar panel, and we're going to U-bolt it to the post. And hopefully when we're done, it's actually going to be adjustable. So that we can adjust the solar panel angle to match the sun if we want to. So for our solar panel brackets, I'm just going to cut some 6-inch strips. I think I'm going to end up cutting like 4 of them, 2 for the top and 2 for the bottom. So you could probably cut this a lot of different ways. I'm just going to use a recip saw. So I've got my holes drilled out in the brackets. So this one right here has got some smaller holes in the middle, and that's where we're going to attach it to the solar panel itself. And this one right here has got some bigger holes in the middle, and that's for these U-bolts. So it's where it's going to attach to the fence post. But now I just got to bend these, and that's going to be super easy. All right, so we're just going to put this in the vise so it's sticking out 1 inch. Then we're just going to bend it over. Just like that. All right, and that's what the bracket is going to look like, just like that. All right, there's our brackets. So basically, the 2 different brackets at least are going to go together, and that's going to be the hinge point, that hole. And then this can basically pivot, and that's going to help pivot our solar panel. But it's going to be a lot easier to show you once we mount it. So we're going to go ahead and mount a bracket to the top and bottom of the solar panel. Being super careful not to hit the panel. Now we'll put our other half of that bracket on with a bolt and washer. We're also going to put a lock nut on this side. All right, there we go. Got our hinge for the top. So the bottom bracket is going to get these 12-inch extensions put on there. And this is what's going to allow us to angle it. Okay, I've got the brackets all mounted to the solar panel now. So here's the top one. Got the U-bolt in here where it's going to attach to the post. Bottom one just has these 12-inch extensions in here to help kick that solar panel out and get the angle that we want. Okay, I think the brackets for the solar panel was the only thing I needed to do inside. So the rain has stopped right now, so let's go ahead. We're gonna head outside, see if we can drive this 8-foot long post, see if we can get that drove in the ground at least a couple feet, start mounting everything on it. So I think I'm gonna put this galvanized post right next to the wooden post. I guess if it ever moves, I can always bolt it to the wooden post. All right, this barely fits over. All right, we're roughly 6.5 feet tall. Hopefully that's tall enough that the steers won't mess with it. Well, as soon as I got that post driven in the ground, I tried to start mounting the solar panel. It just started pouring. So it's good to get rain. It's just slowing this project down a little bit. While we're waiting on the rain, let me show you a couple things. So this is our milling machine, and I just got this vise on vacation. So this is a 5-inch milling vise that I got at Grizzly Tool, and it looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. I redid the tire changer a little bit, so I put it on a piece of plywood on top of the pallet. I know some people didn't like the pallet, but it's really movable. I got the base configured the way it's supposed to, so super easy to move around. Definitely, you know, that's gonna come in handy every time we do a tire now. So I did put the deep cycle battery on a charger in here to charge it back up full. It's been sitting here on the barn floor ever since last year when I bought it. Now I bought this bigger battery because I didn't want one of those little batteries that they have in the fence chargers. I wanted something with some capacity. And then this one, I was able to get a battery box for pretty easy. And then I actually had some old batteries here on the property when we bought it. I was able to trade one of those in, get the core charge when I bought this one. So it helped make it a little bit cheaper. Well, we got a break in the weather. So we're gonna try to get this solar panel on. Okay. Put the cap back on here so I can put this pretty much right under it. So the idea to change the angle, right there would probably be the maximum angle, and then if you need to pivot it down for the winter, you could do something like that. And you just slide this bottom one up and down. I think that'll work out fairly good. We're just gonna go ahead and tighten it up right there. So these U-bolts do come with like this steel plate in here to be able to tighten them down against, and that is in here because this aluminum is too flimsy. It would just bend right around the post. So you gotta have that steel plate in there to be able to tighten this down. And this isn't the strongest thing in the world. You can see it's got a little bit of flex to it. It does move. And I think the steers could actually reach it. They could probably push their nose against it and touch it. I don't think they'll tear it up or anything, but I wish I probably would have gone with a 10-foot post instead of an 8-foot post. And then that way the solar panel would have been high enough up there that really nothing could have ever touched it or messed with it. So I'm gonna take this galvanized ground rod. We're gonna drive that in right here. Man, that rain really did help. Look at that. Actually, I might be able to get that in a few feet before I even push it. Oh man, look at that. I'm getting that ground rod to go right down. Okay, I know everybody's gonna be like, there's no way I could do that in my ground. There's too many rocks. Yes, we are lucky that we have some clay soil and not very many rocks, but as long as it's soft like this and rainy, it doesn't do too bad. We're gonna throw a concrete block down here. And that's just for the battery to sit on. Battery box. Battery. So this here is the charging cable, and it comes from the charge controller. I'm just going to go ahead and tighten it to the battery. So here's the charge controller. We'll go ahead and plug in the charging cable. We got some green lights. Middle one's showing we got a good battery. All right, so we just mounted the charge controller to the post. So I think I'm going to mount my fence charger somewhere in here. My cord will reach the battery, so I'm going to put a screw right here, and that's what it's going to hang from. So I've got one of these crimp-on taps, so we're going to put that on the wire, and then we're going to hook that on our electric fence. And then we're just going to crimp that on there. All right, there we go. Permanently spliced on. All right, I think everything's hooked up. So we got the solar panel up here. We got the wires coming down. It hooks into our charge controller. Out of the charge controller, it's going down, and it is hooking to the bolts on the battery to charge the battery. And from here, the alligator clips, hook that up. That goes up, and that powers the fence charger. Now the fence charger is on and blinking. The camera doesn't quite catch it every time, but we've got our negative going down to a ground rod, got our positive going out to our electric fence that runs down the inside of our pasture. All right, we'll get our battery box cover on here. All these wires go out this little hole here on the side, right here, and it's all covered up and good to go. Well, I think we're all done with the solar fence charger. This setup right here is going to be a lot more robust than the ones you buy at the store. So fence chargers are measured in joules, and that is how much energy is stored that can shock an animal. So that's like stored energy in the charger. And most solar chargers are very small. They're like maybe 0.1, maybe 0.25. They have a very low joule, which is very low energy stored in them. And the one we have out here on our electric netting that we move around, that one is 0.6. Well, this charger right here is a 1 joule, so it is bigger than most of the solar fence chargers that you buy. And so this is a lot stronger. You can build this stronger than one you can buy at the store. So rule of thumb, if you want to build one of these, it is 10 watts of solar per joule. And I ended up putting a 20-watt solar panel up here. So this is twice as big as I needed. So if this ends up going bad later on, I can put a bigger fence charger out here. And this battery down here, this deep cycle battery, this is a group size 24 battery. This would probably run for a week or two without being charged. So this is very robust. So the battery's overbuilt, the solar panel's overbuilt, and it's going to shock. It's going to shock with more energy than what a normal solar fence charger would. So that is good. So it's going to do, it won't ground out as quickly. With grass growing through it or weeds growing up, it's not going to grow up. The more joules you have, it's not going to ground out as quick. So I probably picked the worst day to build a solar fence charger because there was no sun in the sky today. It rained for probably 8 hours today, and now it's just cloudy, right? There's no sun to see whether this works or not yet. So I can't fully test it. So we'll come back hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow will be sunny. We'll come back, and if everything's working, we're gonna start putting some temporary electric wire through this pasture. It has rested for probably 4 weeks now. So we're gonna put some temporary wire up here. We're gonna move the steers back over to this area. And then we may start strip grazing, or we're gonna do some type of rotational grazing to try to let areas rest. And I couldn't do that until we had a fence charger back out here. So we'll come back tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be moving the steers. So it's been 4 days now since we built the solar charge controller, and everything seems to be working just fine. I've tested the battery while the sun was out, and you can tell that it is charging the battery. And then the fence charger, I know that is sending out a pulse, because I ended up getting shocked the day I was trying to wire this up. So I've went ahead and I've put some temporary electric wire through this pasture to split it in half, and then I've closed off the small pasture behind the barn. And I think I'm ready to move the steers over here and start trying to do some type of rotational grazing again. So when we move them over, they're only going to really be able to get in this side over here, and of course they'll be able to get in the back of the barn for some shade. So to move the steers over here, what I want to do is we're going to string some poly wire, some electric poly wire from this gate opening across the driveway to that gate opening, basically make like a wide alley to try to lead the steers back over here. And I think they're going to want to get to this green grass over here. So the previous owners on this property, the last thing they had on this property was horses, and they had rolls of this old poly rope laying around. So I think there's like 3 rolls of it we have. Of course, this is the cheap stuff you buy at the farm store. And I'm just going to tie that in between here. It's not actually going to be electrified, but the steers aren't going to know that. Here, steers. Here, steers. Fireball, come on. Well, they're just looking at me like I'm crazy, so I'm going to go ahead and get them some feed. Guaranteed they'll follow me. Come on, boys. We can do this without letting any goats or turkeys out. No, don't go in the barn. No, no, no. No, you don't need to go in the barn. Everybody stay inside. You know what that is. No, Oreo, you can't just take it all. Come on. We gotta get these guys' attention. I got Oreo's attention. Here. What is that? All right, come on. All of you. Oh my goodness. Fireball, come on. Oh, Oreo. Hold on. We gotta get these boys. Come on. Fireball. Come on. Come on. There you go. Come on. You want this? Come on. Come on. Come on. Here, steers. Oh, Oreo. Quit trying to steal the feed. Your mom is yelling at you. She's telling you not to go out. All right, at least the steers are in this side now. All right, just gotta keep them from getting in the barnyard, or in the barn, where the little livestock are. So the steers look happy to be back out here on some fresh grass. So we did mow this area down. It took a little bit for it to come back, and it was because it was dry. Now it's rained the last couple weeks really heavy, and this has shot back up. So there's plenty of grass out here for these guys to eat, and we'll just rotate them through this pasture, and that'll probably over the next couple weeks, and then we'll move them back over to this one, and we'll at least get areas to rest, and hopefully that will help our grass production. The problem is when they stay in an area too long, they eat all the stuff they like, so all the good forage goes away and only the poor forage is left. So we don't want that to happen, so we want to get this rotated through so that that good grass has a chance to come back. So the pasture they were in, this has been ate down pretty good, and then the stuff that you see that's tall and stuff, that's the stuff they don't like, or the poor forage there. So sometimes you look at this and you're like, oh, there's still plenty of stuff out here, but really there's nothing out here that they really prefer to eat. So another reason why it's nice to get the steers out of here is because this chicken tractor has been moved forward where it's right almost against the netting now. So it's time to pull the netting up, move it forward, move the chicken tractor forward. It's gonna be a lot easier messing with this netting when the steers aren't out here. Now you guys may see we have an extra little chicken coop out here now. That's actually not chicken in there, that's actually a rabbit. That's our neighbor's rabbit. We are watching their animals now. They watched ours while we were on vacation, so now we're watching their pet rabbit. And then they have 6 laying hens, and we've just got them in here with our turkeys in this chicken tractor. So that's a nice arrangement to have. I think now you about just, it's almost, you about have to have it. You know, you about got to find some neighbor where you can trade off, where you can watch their stuff if needed and they can watch yours, if you ever want to leave your property for a day or so. Well guys, I think that's gonna wrap up today's video. I'm glad to have a permanent charger out here where I can always have temporary electric fence. And now that fence charger, the portable one, we were using that. So now at least that is freed up. We can always have it with that rolling netting. And we've always got the option of throwing that netting up somewhere for a chicken tractor or for something else. It's good to have flexibility, and having 2 solar fence chargers now is definitely gonna do that for us. So I think that's gonna be it for today, guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.